Skating teaches you how to fall.
When your best friends all strung out, you do everything you can, 'cause you're never gonna let it get you. Find it all around. Yeah, you say it's what you need and hide your eyes when you're close to the feet in the clouds. But you ought to know that here, no matter where you want to go, upside down, then it comes waves, but it's hard.
My name is Randy Davila. I'm 27 and I'm a lecturer in the mathematics department at Texas State. The feeling I get when I skate is kind of more of like accomplishment. So when I finally do the trick that I was trying, there's this sense of euphoria, like, okay, I actually focused enough to do this.
Why should I believe you? Why should I believe any of this?
Look, I don't know you, and I don't know this guy Sam, but let me tell you what he did to me. He kept me up all night singing, I'm Henry VIII, I am.
He did that? Well, that's how he got me to go out with him. Look, I'm sorry. I just don't believe in this life after death stuff.
He says you're wrong.
Oh, you're talking to him right now.
Yeah, he just asked me to tell you that you're wrong. You think I'm making it up.
So where is he?
How should I know? I can't see him, I can only hear him. He says he's holding your hand.
What are you doing? What do you think you're doing to me?
Hey, look, if you think I came down here for my own help, you are out of your mind.
Sam is dead. He's dead.
He said he loves you.
No, he wouldn't say that.
Ditto? What's that mean, ditto?
Sam?
Welcome to the Wellness Fair.
Hi, I'm here with CTMC, and we're going to ask a couple questions about checking your blood pressure.
People need to know what their blood pressure is. I would suggest checking it a couple of times a year because you don't feel any different when your blood pressure increases. The problem with high blood pressure is there's no signs until it's too late. So that's why you have to do the screenings to make sure that you're staying on top of it.
You said that you invented this machine. Now tell me what this machine does and what is the impact of it.
I wanted to attract the demographic that's most at risk for drinking and driving, which are males between the age of like 16 and 24. And all of the intoxication aspect is built into either the goggles or the software and the steering for the simulator. So when they get behind it, they're driving, they're literally, their reaction times change, they're braking, everything that relates to impaired driving is in effect here. This is not just an educational tool, but it's a tool to get kids to come and talk to us. I'm a police officer, so I've arrested a lot of people. I can tell people a lot of stories about how drunk driving has affected people's lives and stuff like that.
So what have you seen impact here today? When people are driving this, what is the impact that you're seeing? Are they surprised?
They are changing that perception of, well, maybe it is hard to drink and drive, and just getting them to think. If I can get somebody to think for half a second before they put that key in the ignition and think, you know what, I think I'm gonna call a friend. If we can do that, just one time, everything that I've ever done with this whole project will be worth it.
I want to ask you a question. One of my colleagues at another university compared publishing to pregnancy. All right, now let me explain. He said, just as you are either pregnant or you are not, when you publish something worth publishing, it either moves theory or method or both, or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you're wasting your time. The needle needs to move on those two attributes, theory or method. My question to you, what do you think about that statement? Who wants to start? Rayco Graham.
Yes. Well, it is I think it's a strange statement to make. It's difficult to always know exactly what the impact of your work is going to be, and in many cases, what we consider creative is not something that is determined at the time something's published, but it's something that, is earned over time as people read, as people find out more about it. So to just sort of assume from the outset that because you publish in a lesser journal that no one will read it, it seems to be it seems a little unfair to
Does
me.
it?
Yeah.
What about you, Frank? What do you think about that?
Well, I think there's an additional element, and that is you've got to be careful that you don't overly restrict yourself. Theory and method are things that for a lot of historians aren't as important as presenting new knowledge, and that new knowledge is not based either on theory or necessarily method. You can tried and true methods in history are still practiced by a broad range, and that's the empirical method. But it's presenting new knowledge or telling stories from perspectives that have been missed before. So you're still advancing you're advancing knowledge generally, but you're not overly restricted. And to do that, it's what Rayco is saying is absolutely true. It doesn't have to be in the American Historical Review or the Journal of American History. You can, for instance, in my case, I publish in regional journals. But who am I trying to influence?
Yeah, who?
I'm trying to influence Texans. I'm trying to influence the way Texas history is taught, the place of Texas history in American history. And so I'm interested in reaching educators, and I'm interested in reaching the policymakers who deal with educators. And to do that, a perfectly, not only legitimate venue, but a perfectly matched journal or journals are the regional ones, the ones that are read by the people that I'm trying to influence.
Texas State University has more than 300 student organizations on campus, and fundraising can sometimes be tough.
We are in a college town and everyone is for the most part broke. So asking students for more money that they probably don't have is going to be a little difficult.
Students must adhere to certain rules and regulations when they set up to fundraise in the quad.
Soliciting on campus is just a nightmare. There's so many regulations, there's so many things you can and cannot do, so that does limit these organizations.
Guidelines include safety training for those who want to sell or distribute food on campus.
We've thought about doing bake sales and things like that, but we have to have someone who is licensed to bake these things and to sell them at that time. And so as big as an organization we are, some of us don't have just the time to be on the quad and helping baking these and selling these things.
But an alternative is coming to Texas State to make raising money for projects a little bit easier. A new crowdfunding platform is being introduced, which will give organizations the opportunity to market their projects and raise funds through an online interactive website.
With crowdfunding as an option, student organizations will not only be able to raise money through profit shares, bake sales, and alumni donations, but through online contributions as well.
Some students say crowdfunding will help raise money and provide a new marketing tool.
Raising money for anything is hard, and raising money for an organization people don't know about is even harder. So the first thing is getting your word out there and letting people know, and then raising the money for it comes after. So crowdfunding really helps with that.
The crowdfunding program will start in April. For Bobcat Update, I'm Elizabeth Milner.